and we talk a bit about the history of ballroom dancing within the AAPI community. And a lot of people may not know this, but this was certainly a part of my childhood growing up. One of the most famous cha-cha-cha dancers was Bruce Lee. Even before he achieved international fame with his kung fu movies, there's actually grainy video from him as a cha-cha-cha champion in Hong Kong. And a lot of times, for a lot of his students who learned Wing Chun from him, he also taught them how to dance as well. So this is something that is enjoyed through the generations as far back as the 50s in terms of Bruce Lee, in terms of how much ballroom dancing is a part of, the AAPI community. And you got to remember, in terms of historical context, for a lot of Asian countries, during the 50s, we're talking about post-World War II. So there was also this sort of a modernity that was going on. There was also a lot of sort of mirroring the West for a lot of Asian cultures. And, and in some ways, that sort of mentality or spirit is kind of transcended through the decades here. It's a way to kind of assimilate. It's a way to kind of find people from different backgrounds. The gentleman that I spoke to, who's 69 years old, said, the people that take classes here, some of them are newcomers, maybe refugees from the 70s, or maybe people who have come here in the 90s. And then you have some that are maybe, fourth or fifth generation. And then there are other people who are not of AAPI descent. And so they are able to enjoy this sort of sense of community and music, and they are able to interact with one another. A little bit more context for you, just to give you a sense of the impact on this community. This dance studio is directly across the street from Alhambra City Hall, which is next door to the police station. A stone's throw away is Main Street. Garfield is right behind us. And typically, this is a very busy part of Alhambra. This is basically downtown Alhambra. There is a Edward Cinema, a Cineplex right across the street. And on a day like today, the weather is perfect. It is T-shirt weather. You would think that after all of the rain that we've had, it is completely empty out here. There are hardly any cars, and so for a lot of senior citizens, this is certainly a very jarring time. This is supposed to be a time of reflection, a time of celebration, and culturally, religiously, a lot of people, this is also a time to pay homage to your ancestors, and also, some of the practices of Lunar New Year is to ward away evil spirits. That is done with firecrackers, and so when you have something like this, you can just get a sense of how impactful it is. Certainly law enforcement and some of the local leaders here understand that, and that's why they are handling some of the victims as well as their families and survivors in the sort of caring way that they are, because, they understand the sort of cultural significance of this weekend in reference to such a tragedy such as this. Pat and Leslie, we'll send it back to you.
Really love some of your analysis there. And